right, guys. I got a good one for you. How do Tuscan Raiders cheat on their taxes?
Ooh,
Cheat on their taxes.
by rigging elections.
Uh,
No? Okay.
something with banthas, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, they always single file to hide their numbers.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good.
Oh, God.
That's probably my favorite joke so
That-
far.
that's
actually,
good.
So you usually pick horrible ones. That one's actually really funny.
that one's funny. Yeah.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Well, welcome back, everyone. We're here for another episode of the Real Heroes podcast. My emotions are at an all-time high. We're recording this the week of the season finale of The Mandalorian, which means that it's almost done, and it's
Yeah.
not coming out season 3 until Christmas of 2021. So after we talk about this one and the next one, it's a long haul without Baby Yoda and Din Djarin and all of our good friends there. So we're going to try to hang on to this one for as long as we possibly can. So in today's episode, we are discussing season 2, episode 7, which is chapter 15, entitled "The Believer," directed and written by Rick Famuyiwa, the only episode this season that was not written by Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni. Very interesting. And to dive right into it, the first thing that I think we should talk about is, holy shit, Bill Burr.
He's back, baby.
Like,
what a fucking surprise.
Who knew
right?
that he had that in him?
I mean, we all knew that he was funny.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And we also, like, from season 1, knew that he could pull off the action stuff. But
yeah,
the guy's got some acting chops, man. He really tugged on those heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, he got to show those emotions real well.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So to recap a little bit, Rick did episodes 2 and 6 of season 1, so he came back for season 2. The episode 6 that he did in season 1 had Bill Burr in it. His character Mayfeld in the Prison Break episode. He's the Imperial sharpshooter. In that episode, he was full of a bunch of little witty barbs and one-liners, and I wasn't a stormtrooper smartass and all that other stuff that he said. But in this episode, we pick up with him in a very different place. He's a prisoner himself now after the events of what happened in that episode. And Marshal Cara Dune of the New Republic brings Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, and Din Djarin out to the chop yards where his character is just cutting away at beating down TIE fighters, and they say, we have a job for you. And he doesn't really know so much what to do with it. You get a funny moment where he sees Boba Fett and he gets a little scared, and he's like, I thought you were this other guy. And then Armando starts to walk down the ramp of Slave One, and he's like, oh shit, whoops. Oh god.
There's 2 of you.
And I don't know about you guys, but at the beginning of the episode, I had thought, okay, this is the next to last episode of the season. Where is this going to go? Is it going to be just another filler episode with some good humor from Bill Burr? And it's kind of what we got at the beginning,
Right.
He made a lot of references to Cara Dune's sunny disposition, how she's a real firecracker and all this other stuff. And but then as we get into the meat and potatoes of the episode, we really start to learn a lot about this character and what he's been through and what he's seen. I think the first place to start is when him and Mando are they're in that Imperial transport driving together, and they're both in trooper outfits. And he starts talking all philosophical out of nowhere about how people want to be ruled. They don't care if it's the New Republic or the Empire. And like, Kevin, that's heavy stuff coming from the guy who was full of a bunch of insults last season.
It is. And one of the reasons I think it was really smart to throw that in there is because he's been in prison for some time now doing hard labor, right? So he's probably been in his head a lot. He hasn't really had a chance to wax poetic like this with anybody. So he's taking advantage of the opportunity. But it was super heavy stuff, and not the first time we've heard that type of sentiment. I guess usually you hear it though coming from what you would consider the bad guys.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't really want freedom. They want to be ruled, kind of thing. So not really what you expect coming from him, but at the same time you can kind of see where he's coming from too, because as they roll by, you're seeing all of the locals and the poverty that they're going through, and all kinds of stuff. And it's really kind of a touching moment. Like you said, it's very heavy.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder that he was probably like that as he was a kid. Like we don't know his real backstory, but kind of gives you the sense that he's seen it before, possibly lived like that in his earlier years growing up. But yeah, that was like the first sense of there's more to Bill Burr acting as his character Mayfield. And again, like I didn't know, but some of the remarks he had in that transport with Mando were hilarious. It's like, God, I can't see in this thing. And he has to take it off. And Mando is just, just like dead as a doornail, like looking forward, not even moving his helmet, and he probably can't see any better in that helmet that he can in his actual, Beskar helmet. And
but he's used to it.
Right. But he's got, thermal senses and all that kind of stuff. And in his tricked out helmet, that trooper helmet is, probably next to having a paper bag over his head.
Like, they're mass produced.
Yeah, like probably made of like recycled plastic, whatever they do in the Star Wars recycling plants. But it was, like just, I didn't expect it. And it was a great moment to sort of hear him talk philosophically, like we're the same, you and I.
Right.
And the other thing that was surprising to me, and I guess maybe it shouldn't have been, but he has zero fucks left to give at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not just poking the bear by saying stuff like, think about the Mandalorians and the kind of shit that they did to other people. Like he's comparing Mandalorians basically to the Empire at that point. He's not just poking a bear. He's poking a bear that's already pissed off and uncomfortable because he had to take off his own armor. He's sitting there in that. He's angry. He's also probably a little bit like humiliated to a degree because he's the one that goes on and on and on about not taking that shit off. And Mayfield doesn't give two shits, man. He's just sitting there poking at him the entire time.
Not to mention that someone else has his kid right now.
Exactly.
Makes it even worse. But the point that Mayfeld brings up where he says, so what is the actual rule? Is it that you can't show your face or that you can't take off your Mando helmet? Because if it's the latter, you clearly just broke your one rule to pull a line from the Joker in The Dark Knight. Tonight you're going to break that one rule. Like it's really fascinating. He starts kind of, to a degree, calling Mando out on his shit. And between that and the stuff that he hears from Ahsoka and then the stuff that he heard from Bo-Katan, like you've got to start to think that we're getting to a point in Din Djarin's character development from all of this that maybe it's okay to break the rules a little bit. And we'll get into that in the next section of the show when we kind of move over to his arc. But